Another week has come and gone. Just getting home from the North Metro Ice Show. It is about 3 o'clock on Sunday. Show ended an hour ago. Thank you to everyone that came out to the North Metro Ice Show there at the Adrenaline Sports Center in Ramsey. Had a blast talking ice fishing. We did talk some open water fishing with a lot of you the last couple days, but mostly ice fishing the last 2 days there. Blast. Set up Friday, show yesterday, show today. Back on the water tomorrow. Feels pretty darn nice outside. It's in the mid 60s. I actually broke a sweat taking down my booth and loading things up. About to head out to some football for Brody to end his football season this afternoon as well. So lots of good things going on. We are looking at the end of October now. It's the 26th. I will probably come back at you with one more report next weekend in November, and that'll be the end of the open water season. I'm going to be putting my boat away at the end of next week. And chasing candy on Friday night with the kiddos for Halloween next Friday. So what did we see this last week? I'll tell you what, once again, it's the ups and downs, it's the ebbs and flows, it's brutal conditions and wind and rain and all kinds of stuff that you expect in Minnesota mid to late October. It's one of those times of years where you just kind of get up every day. And it's funny because we talked about this several times this last week. You just kind of get up every day and kind of look around and go, what should I be doing today? I can't really think about what happened yesterday and apply it to today. That seemed to be the trend this last week. Water temps were flirting with 50. In fact, one day this last week, I woke up and I waited a while. I did a morning report. I waited a while just to see, because our transducers get cold. My boat sits out of the water in the driveway. It drops to 27, 30 degrees at night. That transducer, which picks up the surface temp, is going to get cold, right? So sometimes it's deceiving. You splash your boat in, you look at your temperature on your Lowrance, and you go, wow, it's water temps 40 degrees. No, give it some time. So I let the transducer acclimate to the conditions. Still said 48.5. So it still got down there pretty cold some of those mornings. Now, as the day progressed and the sun peaks up and we start getting into the 50s for highs, sunny days, water temps teetered back into 53, 54 degrees for surface temp. Lakes are turning over. A lot of things are happening right now. And here's what I saw. I've talked about adapt, being versatile. We've talked about that several times the last couple weeks. This last week was no different. We had to adapt. We had to zig. We had to zag. We covered water. Every day we were done, we had rods laying all over the casting deck of the boat, from chatterbaits to spinnerbaits to swim jigs to wacky rigs to Ned rigs to drop shots to all kinds of stuff, just to get some bites to go. So there's some fish happening. There's some fish being caught flipping. I know the teams yesterday on Lake Waconia did well flipping. Some of the still standing grassy areas, weeds, there's some of that going on. Moving baits, definitely we're catching fish. Chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, swim jigs, swim baits. We caught fish doing that. Once again, zig and zag, covered water. It's comfortable to fish moving baits because you're casting and winding in. So on colder days with stocking caps and fingerless woolly gloves or whatever, you're casting and winding. You forget about some of the conditions around you when it's 35 degrees out because you're doing stuff. Now, what we've seen as well, talking not just game fish, but the panfish side of things. That was a hot topic this week. A lot of people came to the booth asking about open water crappies right now. What are we doing? How are we catching them? Because if you've seen some of my reports, that's been definitely a trend. Same thing. We're fishing weed tips. We're fishing slow. We're doing the things that we need to do to find the fish and catch the fish. So a lot of our fish, crappies, bluegills, well, bluegills not so much, crappies, they quite haven't slid out to the basins yet. They're not quite in their wintering spots. They're still kind of in transition. They're still trying to cling and hold on to whatever green weeds they can find, and they're right on those weed tips. Now, that's where you have weeds. If you have a body of water or a lake where there's not as much weed growth, and you're talking dirty stained water, and you're looking for that transition to gravel, and a lot of times that, again, isn't super deep. 8 to 12 feet of water. We've caught fish as shallow as 5, 6, 7 feet of water in the weeds. So a lot of anglers that I've been talking to recently are going too deep. They're moving all the way out to the basins, the basin edges. They're thinking ice fishing mode already. The fish are still not there. They're clinging to the weeds. They're clinging to the bait. They're clinging to an environment that is flourishing. And that tends to be that 6 to 15 foot range. Now, there are some deeper weeds still lingering on, but rule of thumb, most of the time, our panfish are in those areas. We're catching them on 32nd ounce drop TGs. We're catching them on 16th ounce swim bait heads. We're catching them with 2 and 3 inch plastic baits, whether it's a swim bait, whether it's a a sassy steam, whether it's a twister tail, whether it's a tube. There's a variety of applications we're catching these fish, and we've had to fish slow. I've talked about how to fish a Ned rig many times. This is exactly how we're fishing crappies right now. Downsized everything, like downsized rods, line, all that stuff. We understand that concept. We're fishing crappie setups. Pitch, pull line, flick the bail, let it sink. Work the bait back with the rod, pick up the slack with the reel. Work the bait back with the rod, pick up the slack. You want to keep that bottom that jig relatively close to the bottom of the lake or the tips of the weeds, which means you have to get that application down in the water column. I don't know if I have any of the specific baits. All my rods are in the boat right now that we're fishing. Relatively speaking, small applications. We've seen drop TGs, 32nd ounce. We've seen a variety of different minnow-shaped swim bait heads. I think we get that concept. Color, it didn't really matter. And we kind of debunked that several times this last week. We did notice, like we do in the spring, as the water ticks up a little bit and warms up a little bit, the bite picked up. So if you are targeting the panfish, sleep in. Now, if you can't, I get it, but the morning hours have been tougher, just like we see in the springtime, and as things warm up, the bite picks up. So a lot of things happening this week. You can see behind me, it's a mess. I'm starting to pull a lot of things I'm not going to use this week out of the boat. I got tackle trays and boxes and things all over the place. I'm going to start to transition over to ice fishing this weekend at the North Metro Ice Show. Got me jacked up about it, so I'm starting to play with ice fishing gear. And one big thing to remember, take care of your boat when you winterize it and you store it, because however you put it away here, now, next week, or in the coming weeks, it's how it's going to be when you pull it out. So if you want to be lazy right now, you're going to learn the hard way possibly in the spring. So go through the motions, take all the stuff out you know you don't want to keep in your boat over the winter if you're storing it, and that'll make things more efficient come spring. All I really store in my boat, maybe nets, some life jackets, some boat seats, things like that. Tackle, rods, extra line, electronic pieces, all that kind of stuff, towels, that all comes out of the boat, and the bare minimum stays in the boat when I store it away for winter. So that's what we're looking at. So one more week of open water fishing for me, and then I'll probably beat the bank a bit with the kids, maybe cast from shore, try to catch some smallmouth in November if we get a warm afternoon, evening, and then it's going to be thinking ice. And then it's going to be the St. Paul Ice Show, and then we're going to be catching them through a hole in the ice on the lake. So super excited. One more week of open water fishing. Hope everyone's having a great time. When I come back at you, it's going to be November, which is crazy. So get out there, have a wonderful week, and go out there and set some hooks for me.